Welcome to tonight's audiobook. Today's story is inspired by a classic adventure tale about a hunter, a mysterious island, and a deadly game where the hunter becomes the hunted. Turn down the lights, relax, and enjoy the story. The night was dark and quiet over the warm Caribbean Sea. A yacht moved slowly through the water. On the deck stood a famous hunter named Rainsford. He was known around the world for his skill. Hunting dangerous animals was his passion. As he looked into the black water, he spoke to his friend Whitney. Whitney said quietly, "There is an island nearby. Sailors say strange things about it." Rainsford laughed. "Sailors are always afraid of something." But Whitney did not smile. "They say the island has a bad reputation." The sea was calm, but the darkness felt heavy. Suddenly, far away, Rainsford heard something. 3 gunshots. Rainsford moved closer to the edge of the ship, trying to see where the shots came from. But the rail was wet. His hand slipped. Before he could react, he fell into the dark ocean. The yacht continued forward into the night. Rainsford swam for hours. The waves pushed him farther and farther away. Then he heard something again. Dogs. And a distant gunshot. With his last strength, he swam toward the sound. Soon he saw land. The island was dark and silent. Rainsford walked through thick jungle until he saw something surprising. A large mansion stood on a hill. The building looked old but powerful. He knocked on the door. Moments later, a tall man opened it. The man had a sharp face and cold eyes. "My name is Ivan," he said slowly. Soon another man appeared behind him. He smiled politely. "I am General Zaroff." Inside the mansion, everything was elegant. Fine furniture. Bright lights. Expensive paintings. Zaroff welcomed Rainsford warmly. "I have heard of you," Zaroff said. "You are one of the greatest hunters in the world." Rainsford felt relieved to meet someone civilized on the strange island. During dinner they spoke about hunting. But slowly the conversation became strange. Zaroff leaned forward. "I have hunted every animal in the world," he said calmly. "But hunting animals became boring." Rainsford frowned. "So I created a new game." Zaroff smiled in a cold way. "I hunt the most dangerous animal in the world." Rainsford asked quietly. "What animal?" Zaroff answered softly. "Man." Rainsford stood up in shock. "That is murder." But Zaroff simply poured more wine. "They are criminals," he said calmly. "I give them a knife. I give them food. I let them run for 3 days. If they survive, they win. And if they don't..." Zaroff smiled again. "Well, the hunt is successful." Zaroff looked at Rainsford carefully. "You are a skilled hunter. You would make an excellent opponent." Rainsford felt cold fear. "I refuse." Zaroff shrugged. "You have 2 choices. Join the game or join my servant Ivan." Ivan smiled darkly. Rainsford understood. The game would begin. The next morning, Rainsford entered the jungle. He had food, a knife, and 3 hours to hide. Behind him, Zaroff prepared his dogs. Rainsford ran through the jungle, trying to think clearly. He created traps. He followed difficult paths. He moved through rivers to hide his tracks. Hours later he heard the dogs again. The hunt had begun. Rainsford built a trap using a heavy branch. When Zaroff followed the path, the trap struck him. But the general only laughed. "Excellent," he said. "You are a worthy opponent." The hunt continued. Rainsford knew the general was enjoying the game. But Rainsford had one final plan. As the dogs closed in, Rainsford reached a cliff above the sea. Behind him the jungle shook with barking dogs. Zaroff appeared. "You have done well," he said calmly. "But the game is over." Rainsford looked at the dark water below. Then he jumped. The ocean swallowed him. Zaroff believed the hunter was dead. But that night something unexpected happened. Late that night, Zaroff entered his bedroom. But someone was waiting. Rainsford stepped out of the shadows. The hunter had survived. And now the game had changed. The two men faced each other in silence. Only one would leave the room alive. The next morning the island was quiet. The dogs slept. The jungle was silent. And for the first time in many nights, the hunter slept peacefully.